I first sort of got interested in him professionally in 1985 when I was writing for Rolling Stone magazine. And suddenly this kind of scoop fell into my lap. The Howard Hughes of rock and roll was going to talk. And so it was rather peculiar how it all began. I was taken out to this warehouse where he rehearsed back then, before Paisley Park was built. And he was there instructing a new band he was working with, and I just kind of sat there. And then he motioned for me to come outside, and he motioned for me to get into this 1966 T-Bird, which is the car that was in the Alphabet Street video. It's a reappearing motif. It used to be his father's car. And he sat there. We just sat in the parking lot, and his head was kind of over the steering wheel, and he was whispering. And to me, it sounded like the Kung Fu whisper, that guy in Kung Fu. I could barely hear it. And when I kind of leaned forward, I just heard him saying, "I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore." And I suddenly realized, oh, please don't let my scoop go away. He's got to talk. So I just kept my microphone, my tape recorder, my notebooks out of sight. And we just started talking about Minnesota and the Minnesota Twins and the Minnesota weather and how you can't get good Chinese food in Minnesota. And he started up the car, and we just started driving around Minneapolis. Right now, we're coming upon the historic Bohemian section of Minneapolis. In the 50s, on this intersection right here known as Seven Corners, there are literally 7 corners, there was a jazz club on every corner, and that's where Prince's father, John Nelson, played at several of these clubs. And Prince chose to set his latest movie, Graffiti Bridge, right here and rebuilt his sets to show what this is like in the 50s. And he filmed Thieves in the Temple right here. They rebuilt. He just drove around this is the black ghetto, what little bit there is. Minneapolis is the whitest city in the entire United States. And he'd point out, oh, there's the yard where I used to play touch football. There's where we used to wrestle. Here's the McDonald's where, when I was starving, I would just go outside and just smell the food. Minneapolis has informed his music. It's such a seeming contradiction. The whitest city in America, the city that would be one of the last cities to play Prince on the radio. It's known as a vanilla market in radio parlance, which means it's just white goes. But when I'd ask about him, he said there wasn't a Minneapolis sound at that time. Everyone here had to kind of incorporate every sound, the Memphis sound and the Motown sound and the Santana sound, and that huge mix of everything ended up with what became known in the 80s as the Minneapolis sound. I asked him in which ways Purple Rain was accurate and not accurate, and he said that they definitely, as he said, juiced up or kicked up the script a little to make it more entertaining. His father didn't have a gun. His father didn't swear and beat up his mother that way, or that's what he said. But the basic elements were there. The impression I got was that his relationship with his father was critical to his development, both as a person and as a musician, but it came up a lot, especially during that first meeting. And when he sort of unraveled some of the truths from the yarns from his childhood, it became clear that his relationship with his father had affected him deeply. His father, who he loved, who had been a really great musician, as Prince hoped to be. Steps to take, no either more. During the second interview, I asked him about his reputation as a control freak, you know, that he controlled everything. And he said, I have to protect myself, because what if everyone around me left? Then I'd be left all alone with just myself.